What has been going on in MMA in the last 24 hours? I was planning on making a video about the Misfits card that's happening this weekend, but with all the news that's been coming out, we must talk about it. So if you haven't heard, Charles Oliveira and Paulo Costa have pulled out of their fights versus Islam Makhachev and Khamzat Chimaev respectively. Oliveira suffered a deep cut over his eyebrow, and you can't really have that going into a fight. And Costa got a staph infection on his elbow that was spreading into his bloodstream, and you really can't have that going into a fight. So who other to replace both Brazilians and Alexander Volkanovski and Kamaru Usman on 10 days notice, and they're both fighting up a weight class. Let's start with Chimaev versus Usman. Usman has been on a decent layoff since his trilogy versus Leon Edwards, where he appeared to be a step slow in the kickboxing range. Many people thought he was going to retire, and so did I, but rumors were swirling around a week ago that him and Bilal Muhammad would be matched up against one another because all the other welterweights have a fight book. But Usman said, "F the timeline, let me take on one of the most feared guys in the UFC in Khamzat Chimaev." Khamzat gained a lot of popularity pretty quickly, as in 2020 he had 2 quick turnaround victories in 2 different weight classes, while at the same time not absorbing a single significant strike. Khamzat then went on to put Gerald Meerschaert onto a highlight reel, have an all-time classic with Gilbert Burns, and mess up an entire pay-per-view card because he came in 7 pounds overweight. Then we would get Chimaev versus Costa for UFC 294, and all the fans got hyped again. 2 big names, 2 big mouths, and 2 people known for notoriously pulling out of fights. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't Costa's fault that he got stabbed. It happens to a lot of fighters. It was just very, very, very bad timing. But now we have the former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman stepping in, and Dana White just announced that the winner between Chimaev and Usman will fight Sean Strickland for the UFC middleweight title. If you told me that was a possibility 2 months ago, I would have called you a lunatic. Just a bit ago, we were talking about Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya, and now we have Sean Strickland versus either Khamzat Chimaev or Kamaru Usman. What a time to be an MMA fan. But moving on to the even crazier fight, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. You are a certified BMF, rematching Islam on 11 days notice, in enemy territory in Abu Dhabi, and to the only person that handed you a loss in the UFC. You are sick in the head, and I love it. The only thing I'm worried about for Alex is that if he loses, he won't ever get a chance to fight Islam again on a full camp. And I don't think the UFC is going to want to give the featherweight champion, who is 0-2 to the lightweight champion, a third crack of the title when you have so many contenders that are waiting in line. Also, the short time frame makes it really difficult for Volk to game plan for Islam. Islam is a tricky puzzle because obviously Islam's grappling is second to none, but Makhachev's striking is also pretty good. He's also been preparing for Ilia Topuria, who has a completely different style to Islam, and he's coming off having hand surgery as well. Luckily, he'll have the greatest grappler of all time, Craig Jones, to help him game plan. But if Alexander Volkanovski pulls this off, it might be one of the greatest moments in MMA history. Maybe even the greatest. 2-division champ, 11 days notice, enemy territory. Not just MMA history, but sports history will remember this for a while. With these 2 additions to the fight card, I think it ultimately got better. Sure, Paulo Costa versus Khamzat Chimaev would have been fun to watch, and Charles Oliveira versus Islam would have been a nice rematch. We just added a current and former UFC champion that are considered to be 2 all-time greats. I'm even now more pumped for UFC 294. Hopefully you guys are too. If you guys enjoyed, please smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more videos, and see you in the next one. Peace.